Do you see this case potentially then motivating lawmakers to change that in Michigan or any other state?
So in Michigan, guys, I have to be honest, I'm not extremely confident this will result in any sort of significant reforms as it pertains to gun laws. I mean, in fact, we have a legislator, and I read it this morning. I can't remember exactly who he was. You can Google it, but who has proposed, I don't know what this impetus of this is, but, in Michigan, you have to be 16 years old before you can legally drop out of school. Not that it's enforced if you're younger, but at the end of the day, that's what the law says. And we have a legislator who proposed this morning a law that says, let's wipe 16 away. Like, you can drop out anytime you want. If your parents don't want you to go to school or you don't want to go to school, good for you. And I think that's consistent with a lot of the attitudes surrounding guns, in the state. It's extremely troubling. But I am not confident this is going to result in any form of legislative change. I think that, again, what we've already discussed, I think the prosecutors around the states, God forbid we have this happen again or anything similar to it. I think they're going to take a look at not only the person who perpetrated the act, but who allowed the act to happen and who could have prevented the act, whether it was a school official, a parent, a guardian, or otherwise. But I'm not confident at all that Michigan is going to undertake any sort of gun reform at this point in time.
In our last question for you here, we obviously talked about the parents, in this case, a great amount with you, just sort of their culpability, but to discuss almost them appearing to be on the run, we discussed that earlier as well. The parents went missing. They found them on Saturday due to a police tip. Their lawyer, Shannon Smith, repeatedly said her clients were not fleeing prosecution and planned to turn themselves in Saturday morning. How, if at all, will this affect their charges?
So it will not have a ton of effect on the charges, I suspect. It is an evidentiary issue. I know Shannon. I've worked with Shannon. We've been on the opposite side of the aisle for several years. In my opinion, in all fairness to the defendants, if they hired her, they probably planned on turning themselves in. It's not unlikely, it's not unheard of, I suppose, that, people will kind of try to take a couple of days and get their affairs in order. I'm not suggesting that's what happened here. I don't know that that's the case or not the case. But I do want to just kind of put out there that it's not unheard of. And I think it would shock me that, I know Shannon, I know how expensive she is. And I think to hire her and run is a little inconsistent with common sense. With that said, if the prosecutor is able to do so, we have in Michigan what's called flight evidence. And when you're looking at, when you can explain to a jury whether somebody's guilty or not guilty, the prosecutor will have the ability to present evidence of flight evidence. Did this person act consistent with somebody who wanted to defend themselves, or did they act guilty?